Sadguru Name, Jagadguru Name, Sahaj Name, Sri Gurudev Name, Sadguru Name, Jagadguru Name, Sadguru Name, Sri Gurudev Name, Sadguru Name, Jagadguru Name, Sadguru Name, Sri Gurudev Name.
Heart breath, please. Good. And here today for Baba Siri Chand, this is kind of a long message. So this is to listen for Baba Siri Chand about all of these things. Japa Saraswati, can you put that now?
Yes, I just put it in the chat, and it's money, finances, economy, commerce, cryptocurrency, and then what to do and why. Why are we doing this in this country?
Good.
Shall I read it one more time just for? I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Money, finances, economy, commerce, cryptocurrency, what to do and why are we doing this in this country?
You all understand that?
Yes.
And can you, let's see, how can they read that?
It's in the chat. It's in the chat box. So if they look in the chat box at the bottom of the screen, and then I'm going to also just send it again in the chat screen so that Sahaj can read it, because you can't see it. This way it's so there's for everybody to see it. It's in the chat screen.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. So this is with Baba Siri Chand. Listen to see what's going to happen from Baba Siri Chand, and begin 3 minutes for our meditation, and begin. Inhale. Exhale. And breathe. Okay. Gian Das Prem. Can you start now?
Satnam, sure.
Great.
Well, so let's go back to the question. It is a loaded question, but it also can come down to one answer as far as, so this has a lot to do with me personally, but it also has a lot to do, in my opinion, in my experience, of the dharma, of what comes from the land.
Say it again. I didn't understand. About dharma?
Yes.
Okay.
And communication.
Mhm.
And where did money come from? So it's just a bunch of questions against all of these things. Why money? Why finances? Why? Why?
Mhm.
Who, when, and where do we decide for the communication to override the writing behind the rules? You know, are we at a point where rules are archaic, that the money making is archaic, that the putting of a face on a piece of money or a flag, in some cases an animal is cool too, right? But where does the communication come from? Why did we get to the point where we needed to use money? Is it because our organization? Is it because there are too many people? So what we are doing now is where we are going. So there is no need to ask, in my opinion, why. It's when. So in this country, we can look at our history and we can look back to the people that lived here before and how people would live in the elder societies of the seven generations before us, and try to see how they survived through it, how they were able to live from the land, from what came from the land, and use that in the source that its vibration is, offering. And I was, looking at the flowers and saying, wow, if all goes wrong and, there's no supermarket or whatnot, I know I could eat 8 out of 10 flowers that, won't hurt me to eat them. So it's coming back to that body once again, coming back to our body and noticing the changes and that light from within, right? So that's what's allowing the sharing to come, allowing the noticing of that truth and the breath of the cycle to come through, to notice that we do have a purpose for sharing here. And our energy is something that we use to raise our bodies up, like when we wake up in the morning, and then we bring our energy out into the world from a creation of all of these other items and lives that came before us, allowing us to be here at this point, ruling this earth in a sense of its items that we're taking from it for a use. And there's a way of putting that back into the earth as well, too. But it seems now that a lot of us are looking at money as a value, as an energy. It's, in my explanation, money is an item that came from the ground, and then we make items out of these, call it art, call it something, right? So how does it become a means of communication when somebody has all the money and says, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go? So I think that when we look back at our history, what do we do in this country? We look back and we say, how did they do it before without money? And that this is one of the last places on the earth in our modern time that went without using money, that relied on communication. And yes, there were emotions and things behind that, that feuds and whatnot that happen in fights and whatnot. But for the most part, there wasn't a big machine, you know. So now we're faced with these big machines that are coming at us, you know. But our technology, this human technology, is what allowed this to happen. Our way of invention, our way of artistry, our way of writing rules. So we need new rules. So if we change that from ourselves, the rule has almost always been there, you know, and that communication is, I think that human communication, that technology, facing that true technology of, you know, erasing that ego, because really there's ego behind money, there's ego behind finances, there's ego behind economy, there's ego behind commerce, crypto money, but there's also an idea of sharing in there too. So with all of that, you know, and it takes a lot to make money, a lot of machines to make money, a lot of metal, a lot of, you know, items that maybe could be used in other places. So yeah, and that's part of my opinion too. But I think if we get back to the root of the communication of why we're using money and how much of it do we really need to have, you know, for ourselves, and Waheguru to that too, because here we are, you know, and it's okay to have ourselves to move around, right? Because that's what we have. We're the source of energy, these particles, these waves and energy that's moving around, as we're seeing that the science is allowing us to learn, you know, our technology that within this body. And then it's like right back to the music. I can just hear, you know, if you want to play an instrument and you don't have a teacher, you can pick it up and you can listen to the sound and notice what you're doing with it. And I think the tuning of that, the heart, and, you know, the light from within, and if we can't imagine it, you know, just keep practicing, you know, see it in some other way if you can. And we can notice from each other that way of that one family coming out, you know. That's so beautiful to me. And I think that it's a practice that we do. And um, by losing that negative opinion and to do no harm, to move forward with noticing how the rock lets the flower grow, but the flower also has a strength that it uses in order to root itself into that rock. So coming together, working together from the differences, and noticing that, yeah, we don't have to focus on the differences. We can, you know, notice that as we are doing. What do we do in our country? And yeah, you know, like certain people like myself, I always used to like run into trouble. And who was my, you know, I was learned about Crispus Attucks when I was a young boy, you know. And it was just to me so polarizing, because I didn't know there were four other guys there too, right? Four other guys, all from different places of the world too. And you know, this person came to with an understanding, but he was a good worker, he was a good person, he was a good soul. He still is. I feel that, you know, part of me notices that, and I can see myself. What am I running at? You know, am I running at it with the sense of love of, hey, what are you guys doing over here? You know, because we need to be careful with that too, because there are people out there with, you know, with ways that they want to come at us, and we need to stick together as a family and notice that we're a family, and be together with that, whether we're, you know, picking up after each other, or, you know, coming back to ourselves. And just thank you so much for this opportunity, and noticing that part of me, right, that belly button, that disconnect. And one of my friends, she said, I'm going to lead with my belly, you know, because that's where the life came out of me. And I don't know that because I'm not a woman, but I have that part of me connected, that belly button, that part, you know, that, and my mom, and the third eye, and the eye of Horus, and all that, that we can go and, you know, slice each other up and all that, in a way that we can notice the layers and all the differences in the art. And then, yeah, I like to talk, and sometimes I talk too much, and that's when I say, "Why, Guru? Thank you very much."
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Gian Das Prem. Thank you.
Excuse me, Siri Gian.
Yes.
I wanna say that Ved Bachan came and joined us, and I want to tell her that I posted in the chat the prompt for today's meditation, so you can follow along.
Mhm.
So you know what we're talking about.
So
Thank you.
can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So be sure to meditate with Baba Siddhi Chand about all of those things.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so now how about Sahaj? Sahaj, are you here? Sahaj? Okay. So, um, so maybe now for Harimandir. Harimandir, how have you been? And what did you find?
I've been attached to the news, not to the news, to responding and absorbing what has been coming out of Washington and how people are reacting to it.
Oh, hold on just 1 second. We see that Sahaj is not sure why you can't hear me. We'll troubleshoot. Okay. Right, Japa Saraswati? Do you understand that?
Yes, let's let Harimandir finish her share, and then I'll maybe talk to Sahaj about her mute button.
Oh, okay.
You think?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay. Harimandir, I'm so sorry. Can you start again?
I don't have any. You asked how I was, and that was all I was saying, that I was paying attention to what was happening, but I don't have any at the moment. I don't have a message, so I will just listen.
Okay. Well, Sahaj says it's not her mute button, and I looked. I thought you were I thought that you were muted when we couldn't hear you. I'm not sure. Would you try to unmute yourself now, Sahaj? Because you're still muted. So it's at the bottom, on my screen, it's the bottom right, and I have to tap my screen in order to initiate it. Because otherwise, sometimes my controls are hidden. I show myself unmuted. I show you muted. Gee. How could that be? My screen says Sahaj is muted. And your screen says unmuted. You have to unmute on your end. On my end? Let's see. No, I don't have the ability to unmute somebody as the host. That's not within my purview.
This is under. Oh, there it goes. Okay, now she can.
Aha.
Okay. Okay, so you can take your arrow, but go down under there, and under the bottom, it becomes a whole bunch of items there. And it says audio. Do you see that? And then you have a little thingy, a little microphone thing. You see that? And take it away for the diagonal red line. Can you see that?
I see it on my screen, but the question is Sahaj.
Right.
Because sometimes there are different layouts.
Oh.
Or I'm also wondering if she logs out and then tries to come back in, if a fresh go might. I'm aware.
Okay.
Tried to mute, neither is working. I wonder if you log out and then try to come back in, if a fresh go of it might work. I'm already logged out and twice. Whoa. I have to, I guess you're an angel. So you know what? I have to tell you guys about um, the telepathy tapes, which is a podcast, a 10-hour podcast available on all the platforms about nonverbal autistic kids who all literally across the world go to a psychic place called the Hill and communicate together. They are friends together. They teach each other, and these are children who have never met, and they've done this huge podcast and research about it. And I have a friend who is mentally ill lately, or lately I've been talking to him, so he has trouble verbalizing. And I spent time with him this week, and I told him that we just need to mentally communicate. And I feel like, Sahaj, with this blockage today, that you have to give your message to us psychically.
Okay.
And I had to tell you guys about this podcast. I very much recommend it to everybody.
Okay, what is it?
It's called the Telepathy Tapes.
Telepathy?
Tapes.
Telepathy
Yes.
.com?
No, it's if you Google search the Telepathy Tapes, it's a podcast. You can find it on Spotify or on Apple or on any of the carriers where you might listen to a podcast, and just put in the Telepathy Tapes. And it's absolutely fascinating because it is um it is proof of psychic communication between people who, I mean, these kids are getting 100% accuracy, and like it's gobsmacking, the implications of it. And I feel that in the Aquarian age that we are, I think that that's what's going on with the aliens. I feel like that it's all about us being interconnected and psychically communicating, and just a more efficient means of communication, you know?
Okay,
Um,
good. Okay, and so now, how about Ved Bachan? Can you begin?
Yeah, I'm not getting very much. So I'd like to maybe keep listening if that's okay.
I'll go. I'll give my share from Baba. I want to center myself first.
Okay, here we go. Go ahead.
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, Siri Gian, you asked what they want, um, the big they, and I answered to you that time that they want our energy, our vital life energy, and part of what I got.
Excuse me, are you talking about from the aliens?
No, not from the aliens. I think from the oligarchs, from whoever it is perpetrating the some of the big changes that we're about to see.
Mhm.
And yeah, what's not the aliens. I think the aliens are here to help us actually.
Yeah.
But I think that the oligarchs are after our vital life energy. And from what I heard from Baba Siddhi Chand, or one thing that is very is energy, um, energy as currency, as money. Um, and I saw big engines turning big money, making big wakes, and also like big wheels, like big mechanisms versus small mechanisms. And I think I've talked to you guys before. I don't really remember if I've talked to you guys before about gyroscopic precession, but it's
Well,
about how gyroscopic precession, it's
say it
part
again.
of gyroscopic
Gyro? Spell it.
G
Huh?
Gyro scopic SCOPIC. It moves like a gyro, or um yes, Sahaj wrote it in the group chat. Thank you, Sahaj. Um so it describes the way that a gyro moves, but karma moves in exactly the same way. And so when what the law of gyroscopic precession says is that a force applied is felt 90 degrees ahead on the plane of rotation. So if you visualize something moving around a central axis, um, and you apply the force at 90 degrees, it's felt at 180 degrees. It's felt 90 degrees ahead on the plane of rotation. And the big wheel moves a lot of energy because it moves, like if you run around the outer edge of the racetrack, you're running farther than if you run around the inner edge of the racetrack. What
Mhm.
that is being close to source. What that is being close to source. Um, but it also means that you are, so part of what I got was about conservation of energy. Oh, so what I heard was about the global economies, um, that we're about to see um, big action in canals and ports. I saw them as waterways, and I saw them as conduits and vectors for a lot of goods and energy to transfer through, that the people. So yes, so I saw congestion and change happening there. I also saw from, or heard from Baba Siddhi Chand, that that these places have always been places for smuggling, for customs taxes, for but not. I seemed to feel like it was like an, I don't want to say like an unfair levying of taxes either. Either that some people are charged much too much and other people are like also charged much too little, like that it's an unevenly applied, not fair to everybody thing. Places also for contraband and for human trafficking, for slavery, chattel slavery has always been coming through ports and canals, and that this is um, the, I feel the underbelly of commerce. I also heard from Baba about money lenders. Oh, so basically don't try not to borrow money if we can in this economy, because basically the house always wins. Um, and what I saw, oh, there's more. So immigrations and customs, what they're doing with coming down on the immigrants, and is is coming down to forced labor and getting labor a lot cheaper. and making people afraid and criminalizing new things. You know, have you guys noticed how like suddenly marijuana is legal in a lot of states, and now we don't have the jails filling up with people on, you know, petty marijuana crimes. So now it's time to find other people to be filling the basically the prison complex, which is a big moneymaker. Anyway, so this is about not just forced labor, it's about undercutting the economy. And so what I also heard, I'm coming back to Baba, that was Brahmacharya is for right use of energy. It's also for celibacy. And in that way, I feel that Baba is meaning like tapas is also austerities. Tapas is heat, but it's also austerities. Tapas is an austerity. And what I'm feeling is for us to mindfully do austerities, not to the point that we are hurting ourselves, but more about conservation and right use of energy, like doing right use of energy so that we can steward our energy and have plenty of energy to use when we need it, that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And so longevity is important. Like this past week, I was running around too much, and I knew I was running around too much, and I knew to myself that I should just stay home, you know, but the idea of staying home made me feel lazy. It made me feel guilty for being lazy. So I felt like, have you guys heard of the Army Make Work program, when they would need to like put a bunch of soldiers to work and they would just invent a thing? And I felt like I said to myself, this is crazy town. Why am I driving around like this? So that's part of my practical application of Brahmacharya and right use of energy will be to be just more mindful with how I'm spending my energy and how I'm running around, and make more concerted choices. Oh, I feel that that's that. I think that's it for now, Siri Gian.
Okay. Okay. Well, wait a minute. I would like to know what the other people was talking about, what Japa Saraswati is just talking about, and from BabaJi Chan. Does anybody would like to talk about that? Okay. So
I hear Sahaj. I can feel Sahaj.
oh wow.
I want to hear what she has to say.
Yes. Are you here?
No, I hear her like psychically echoing something. I feel the give us a message, Sahaj. Can you type it?
She is showing up on my screen now with the speaker. Whoops,
She
says she's literally just asking if you can hear me. Oh
no.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, yay!
Oh, okay. It's
okay.
Hang on. I can barely hear you, but you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay.
We lost her.
What?
Oh, okay. So I hope she comes back and that we can hear her, that maybe some of the technical problems are fixed. Yikes, Sahaj. I feel that. So I'm feeling that as like this blockage about the fifth chakra. So that's my friend, my mentally ill friend, who I told him to to psychically communicate with me. He he's a really good friend, but he has a lot of trouble communicating, and when he does communicate, it comes out like little noises or mumbles or something like that. And it occurred to me, the reason was that I had a cat who made the exact same sounds, and I felt that it was just basically another part of language, like I felt like what I said to him was his vibration. So I said it's a problem in his fifth chakra, but I said if he just mentally vibrates the message, that he speaks so many languages. That's the other thing. And it's because he speaks so many other languages, but he just really has trouble putting it out. I wonder if Sahaj is coming back.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Ved Bachan, did you want some now?
Yeah, I can share. The message for me is like, it seems to be just like one visual and felt sense of like being like in the womb of Mother Earth. It's just like an image of a person being cocooned in the earth and listening to the root system and to the mycelial networks and to the waters underground. And yeah, that's really it for me. I don't have much like information. It was just kind of like a feeling of listening and being in sort of like a hibernation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Does this mean that, read about the money and the, what do you call it? All of this stuff. Is that what you are saying about the money and the commerce and so on?
Yeah, that's what I was getting. Like at first, I just saw Baba kind of say like, shh, breathe. And then I just saw the image of like basically being quiet and being in that space of like resting with the earth and listening to Mother Earth.
Okay.
Can I just found the image from that. So Ved Brahmacharya is one of you probably know this, all of you, is one of the phases of life. It's the first phase of life from 0 to 25 years. It's the student phase, and it's called this because it's when we learn to regulate our energy. It's like how we regulate our energy. It does mean celibacy, but it's so what I found from your message, Vade, was to be almost childlike in simplicity and in needs in that brahmacharya way. To, like kids have relatively small needs, and that was kind of the message I found from that was, be small with your needs. You don't need a lot of stuff. Keep it simple.
Yeah, that resonates for sure.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Here she is. Sahaj is back.
Oh, look who's there.
Oh, for Pete's sake, I have been talking away. I have been talking away and did not know I was not on. I don't know what's going on today, but that's very interesting.
Okay.
I'm talking,
All right.
talking, and then I asked Japa Saraswati to clarify something for me, and I was like, "Oh, that's unlike her. She's usually very responsive." And I looked and I was like, "My God, I'm not even on the call."
Oh, we
So,
lost you the second you started.
well, that's hilarious. So I am here now, so I will try briefly. We'll see what happens. It could be my own interference energies around me. I'm feeling a microcosm of this madness that's going on in my own life, and that's deeply upsetting to me. It's unjust, unnecessary, and destructive, and it feels terrible. And I see it leaking my energy, not just leaking, like grabbing my energy, and I feel moved around by this. That is what I was supposed to finally come to before I came here to speak. That's why all this other stuff. This is what I was meant to see and to say, is that we have to be very, very careful and very, very conscious that, first off, on a like national level in the US, which affects global politics, of course, there is a conscious campaign of distraction and terror. And like, we all know that. I mean, I would say most of us know that, but we have to remind ourselves of that in the most neutral way possible, to say, this is deliberate. This is deliberately meant to destabilize you. So what is the counteraction? The counteraction is to drop into the breath. The counteraction is to drop into meditation. The counteraction is to consider before any response. Because to respond on an emotional level, when we're being manipulated, can be very destabilizing to us. So this is where the mind is going to be a good tool to when our emotions, when we feel overwhelmed by the egregious nature of what's going on, is to remind ourselves these things are being done deliberately to destabilize us and to distract us, and so that the outrageous proposals that they actually want to put through, by comparison, will seem not so bad, right? We get barraged with these outrageous actions, and a lot of them aren't going to fly. You know, there'll be litigation, there'll be this, there'll be that, but the agenda that's behind it, if it were just offered as is, people would rise up against it, and action would be taken. But when, after this barrage of all of our senses and all this fear generated and that not working, then does this make sense?
Keep going.
Yeah.
Yes.
That this is something we need to be conscious of, so that we don't accept that. When all the smoke has cleared and this other thing is offered as not as bad as all that other stuff, we have to not accept that, because that was the plan all along. That was the plan all along. It's quite dispassionate, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's a plan to control resources, and as Japa Saraswati mentioned, one of the resources is people's energy and attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It took all that time for me to get to that. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. Anything else? Keep going.
Okay. There was something. Oh yeah. I don't know if I just said this or not, because I've had so many funky communication issues, about the piracy thing, that like as soon as Japa Saraswati said the canals and waterways, I remember I saw my brother Stephen. He used to make it like when he would be storytelling, he would say, there I was in the streets of Malacca, and he spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia. But I learned later that there was, a lot of piracy in those places, and that this and the waterways, the Northwest Passage, all of that. That's a that's a global competition for access and movement. Because the Northwest Passage was something that people tried to explore and find, and then it just didn't exist for a while. But now with global warming, it's becoming viable, and so there's a lot of competition in the world for that. So there's going to be a lot of attention on that passageway to move goods around, because that, at the end of the day, is as important for global economics as anything else, because that's the most practical means of moving goods. You can't just fly everything. It's not economically viable. So that's just something to just keep our awareness on, and to when there's all this shouting and all the smoke and mirrors and everybody's emotions running high and fear running high, we really need to look in the other direction. What is happening in the other direction that we're being distracted from? All of these factors. Oh, and yes, and sometimes there's not an action that we can take that will affect that thing, perhaps, that we see. But I'm hearing holy witness, and this notion that sometimes that is simply our role, is to be the holy witness, to be witness to what is happening, and there's a power in that. Oh, I see these presences is the best way I can say that. So what I am being shown is that when we stand as that witness, it's very moving. When we stand as that witness, there are all these presences in the spirit realm that stand with us as witnesses. We're never, ever, ever standing alone. And I think that is, yes, I think that's the thing I was meant to get to. I think that's it. Sometimes we need to simply be the witness, and that we will never stand alone in that. And that it's important, even if we don't understand why, it's still important. I hope that resonates.
Okay. Because we're just here. Is that true?
Yeah.
We're present.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what I'm seeing here is actually all together in the whole humanity is a very large library. And so it seems to be very important to be aware of what is happening and what has been and what will happen. Do you feel that?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good.
We did it.
All right. Now, what about Harimandir? Do you want to go for something?
Can you hear me? No.
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Okay. I'm well, I need to check on something. Okay. I resonated with Ved's hibernation, and part of this flurry of distractions happening now require us, I feel, for whomever this works, to step back and not react to each one because it's too much and too distracting, as you have been saying. So a combination of the hibernation, not getting sucked in at this point, is important. So you're not, sucked into the chaos. And Pete Buttigieg said that made sense to me, and I wrote it down. We can't be mesmerized by the worst things. We can't react with shock by the things that are done precisely with the intent of shocking us. And so he went on to talk about responding strategically. So the combination of hibernation and stepping back from the shock, and then the witness, there will be those who are strategically working and those who are witnessing. And I'd like to believe, George Will said, neither euphoric nor despairing be, Trump too will pass. But then there'll be a whole nother time. And this tomorrow, but it's already started in Asia. And actually, today is tomorrow in Asia. This is the year of the wood snake. And the wood snake is, as people have been saying, close to the earth. It's the snake that lies on the earth, that learns from the earth, that has the ears on the earth. And the snake is part of regeneration, losing its skin, coming out. The snake that I've researched recently, and I haven't delved deeply into it yet, but it doesn't it bides its time. It doesn't, it takes a while to, it reacts when it's provoked, but it will, and if it's provoked, it will attack, and it can be deadly or vicious or whatever, but it's also a time of renewal. So just Google year of the Earth snake, and there will be a lot of information about that.
Where?
On Google anything, just Google it. You understand Google?
Yeah.
Okay, so just type into the Google lunar year of the Earth snake.
Mm-hmm.
And that will, there'll be lots of stuff around it, and you can find what is, I think, with one's intention, when one Googles that, those sites that resonate with you will come up. And also what I'm finding is that the psychics and the mediums who have their spirit navigators on YouTube are interesting because they tend to give a longer view, not just what's happening right now, but for the year. Or and I did post on our phone tree the message from Namhari, who is the Kundalini Yogi numerology person. And I don't remember what she said at the moment, but it made sense to me of looking at this whole year and how to respond rather than react. So that's those are tools to help going through this. So one of the ones I like is Susan Lynn, Lynn, who has spirit guides that tell her things, and then she adds her own version. But the spirit guides are usually righter than what she adds. And there's another lovely one, Marianne Revealing Light Tarot in Australia, that is lovely to listen to. So those are my two YouTube spirit guides that give just information, and both of them say in the world of who's watching us, they said they have to say this is for entertainment only. Okay, that's all.
Okay. Sounds good. So feel with everyone what you were talking about all together for letting go of all of that terrible, crappy stuff that's happening with the politics and with the new government, or not really government, whatever it is. Just be present. I think that's what you're all saying. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Be present. And stay with heart breath and stay with meditation. Know who you really are about all that terrible stuff. Just be who you really are. Okay.
This is Harimandir. I have one more thing about not being alone when we were talking about frequency of forgiveness a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And bringing someone who is terrible into that frequency of forgiveness. And when you do that, all the people that have been harmed come and say, thank you. We have been listened to. So using the frequency of forgiveness in this time would be a good idea.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, do you all know about frequency of forgiveness? What that is?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to remind us?
Why good?
Okay. So that means to beginning with heart breath and go with total neutral. If you have a problem and other people are, if you're upset with other people, just stay with pure neutral and stay with heart breath. And at the same time, you just feel forgiveness within your body, not with your everyday self. Just feel forgiveness in your own self body. And stay with heart breath and keep up. And then after that, this is amazing. It just changes. It lets it go. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. All righty. So maybe Sahaj, can you lead our song? Are you there?
I can and I will.
Okay, good.
Okay. Let's just inhale and exhale. And inhale to begin. We'll do it twice. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Inhale. Love you, love you, love you. Bless you. And keep up. Take care.
Thank you.
Satnam, everyone. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great week.